Hello everyone, this is Marilyn from LemLedger, and in this video I'm going to talk about the common insightful mistakes that make clients distrust your reports. Now, have you ever sent a productivity report to a client and they still asked what exact work did you actually work on? The truth is that the problem isn't always the work, it's how the work is reported. And so we shall take a look here at reports inside insightful. So we have work types, schedule adherence, work distribution, apps, and websites. So these are the types of reports inside um, insightful. And an example of such kind of a report would be this. This is how the report would look like. And so basically, the client would still ask you, okay, what exactly did you do? See, the report is looking like this. They're not able to see that, okay, this is the work actually that was actually done. So clients get skeptical because they don't want to just see the hours. Here you can see 100 hours, 82 hours. They don't want to just see that. They want to see the evidence of progress. But many productivity reports look like this. You know, collaborative software 92 hours, AI tool 84 hours. And what does that actually mean? Random apps that have been used, whether the location, the productivity levels, and so the client is still wondering, okay, what was actually delivered? Because these reports only show the time without outcomes. We're seeing the time here and what tool was probably used, but we're not seeing the outcome of it. And even another report also would look like this and insightful. So we can see the apps that were used. We can see Visual Studio Audio, Visual Studio Code, nytimes.com. Those are the apps that we use, but we're still not seeing what is actually being used, what is going on, what work was actually done. We're just seeing numbers, hours, apps, websites, time logged, category of the work done, but we're still not getting, the client is still not getting what exactly is actually going on. So it's just generic work activity time, really. And so mistake number one I'm going to talk about is that when you do not tag your deliverable in insightful here, when they are not tagged, your client unable is unable to know what exactly you've done, and your report will look exactly like this. Because when you don't tag your deliverable, your report is just going to show this is the app that was used, Slack was used, Azure Snapseed was used, but they're not going to know what progress was actually made. So from the client's perspective, they're unable to see what progress was actually made. And so the quick fix here is to make sure that you tag your deliverables. So an example of a tagged deliverable would look like this. So maybe if you're working on Figma and you tag your deliverable as, you make sure you create your tags here as billable, collaborative, distractions, focus. So being able to tag your deliverables now shows that now in the report your client is able to see that it's not just the time that was done or the time that, but what was actually produced. So they can now see, okay, these are the billable hours, actually these are the billable things that were done, this is the main work that was actually done. And so an example of that would be something like this. So when when they are now tagged, your report will look more like this. So they can see, okay, there is billable here, this is most of the work that was done. So focus was the most used tag remotely with two 200 hours, things like that. So being able to tag shows now your client that, okay, in the time worked, this is what was produced. Billable has been the best productivity in this period. So the report now is more useful to the client because they're able to make more sense of it. Now, mistake number two is tracking without notes or context. Now, here in Insightful, another mistake that people make a lot is tracking work without adding context. Like you're adding all your work, you're making sure that you have put all the things that you're actually going to do and your tasks, but you've not put context. Your client is not going to see anything. Again, your report will look like this. Your client is not going to be able to see that, okay, you worked on this for this reason. So, for example, someone who was working on AI tools and they have not added context on any of that, the client will be able to see a report that looks like this again. They'll be able to see 84 hours worked on this, worked on AI tools, but they're not able to see the context of it. So the client just sees 84 hours on AI tools, and their first thought was was that research, writing, editing? What exactly were they doing? So, without context, the report just creates questions instead of clarity. Like this, it will just create questions. Visual tool code. They're not able to see what exactly is going on, only questions, basically. So, this is like a generic time entry, and the client is unable to tell what exactly was being done. So adding short notes, like maybe if you're working on AI tools, you'll be like, okay, editing maybe a blog article, or if you're doing communication, you could say editing a blog article or researching something. It makes it more easy to actually tell the story, and the client is able to get more context of what you actually did. So it turns a time report into a story of progress. They're able now to see what you're actually doing. Like here, they're able to actually see, okay, this is the work type and this is what they were actually doing. And here as well, exactly. And so, mistake number three that we can talk about is sending raw reports too late or maybe too early. So, the third mistake really is about when employees end up sending a report too late or sending raw dashboards. And maybe a raw dashboard would look like, let me see, and maybe a raw dashboard would look very generic, like this. Still is a very generic dashboard. So, you know, our clients want to see or dig through analytic dashboards. For example, this, it's a bit raw. And what exactly does this graph tell you? Nothing. The client is not able to dig through this and go into analysis of all of this. They don't want to do that. So clients don't want to dig through analytics dashboards. They want a simple summary of work done and results that are achieved. So maybe as these kind of reports are being sent in to the clients, this kind of reports. Another thing would be maybe to send in summarized reports individually. Like maybe you could type, this week I did 12 hours of design work, 4 creative ads completed, and maybe a landing page finished. So that just helps the client to know what you were doing quicker and faster without them having to dig through all the analytics of the things that you're doing. For example, this, they do not want to do that. So sending in a short summarized text of what you actually did makes more sense. Now, interestingly, tools like LemLedger, right, help solve this problem by design. So we have a tab here called Delivery Ledger. And instead of just tracking the activity on LemLedger actually focuses on clear progress tracking, right? So that makes it easier to show clients what exactly was done and why it matters. So, example, if you add here a deliverable, your deliverable on delivery ledger will just, you will be able to add the notes here so that the client can see, oh, they were designing a template because of this and this. So that short note helps the client to know. So just by design, LemLedger helps to track tasks automatically and deliverables automatically. And so it just makes it easier for clients, for it makes it easier to show clients exactly what was done and why exactly it matters. So insightful is powerful as a tracking tool, but how you use it makes a difference. And LemLedger now is more powerful in a sense that it helps track things automatically and show what was done it and why it matters. And so if you're comparing productivity tools, it's worth looking at how LemLedger structure uh, works, makes tracking a bit easier. Yeah, just by the way it is designed. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to know more about these tools, about this kind of tools, SaaS tools, please click the link in the URL description down below. Thank you very much.